Hello and welcome to TelecomTV and our exclusive coverage of the SDN and OpenFlow World Congress here in Dusseldorf in Germany. I'm talking with KIshore Patnam, who is the Director of Product Management at F5. KIshore, welcome. It's pretty hectic out there. It's a busy show. There's a lot going on. And over the past couple of years, there's been an immense amount of momentum that has built behind SDN and NFV. The acceleration has been intense, and so is the pace of development. Do you think it's time now that the industry took a breather, took a step back, took a foot off the accelerator a bit, and looked to see what has been achieved before heading pell-mell into something else?
Yes, that's an excellent question, Martin. Yes, absolutely. I think there have been many initiatives launched, especially in the open source and orchestration and in just SDN technologies in general and NFV technologies both, right? I believe it's time to, as you say, take the foot off the accelerator and look at what we have achieved so far. And in my opinion, I think we have achieved a lot. I love the pace and the acceleration of things that have been developed. At the same time, they need to converge on something that is real and practical for the operators so that we can go to the next step, because there's too many technologies, too many options and choices that we have today in the industry. So there's vendors, and there's a bit of a confusion between the vendors and the operators, both in terms of which technologies are we going to pick for and for what, which layer are we going to implement them, right? So I think it's about time we kind of step back a little bit, take a survey of what is important and what is working, what is not working, and converge on a few technologies.
Well, exactly. If you think back, I mean, a lot of the development of NFV has been predicated on open source and open standards. And of course, OpenFlow was supposed to be the protocol that everything would be set by. It would sweep all before it, and there'd only be a couple of them, and that would be that. But the reality is that there have been many, upwards of 10, I think, so far, and that is beginning to confuse the market. As I've certainly heard said that some potential customers are getting concerned about it.
Yes, that is true. However, the positive side of things is there's been a lot of innovation as well. That's the good thing. Now, the challenge is, as you said, many customers are looking at all of these because they have limited resources. They cannot test and do trials with all of these technologies, right? And so they have to pick few things. So there is some level of convergence happening, and they're picking some technologies are showing up more than the others. So I think vendors and the operators and CSPs have to insist on their vendors that, hey, let's come and converge on certain key technologies for each of these, whether it's orchestration, whether it's at layer 2, layer 3 networking, SDN-based networking, service orchestration, service chaining. They have to converge on a few technologies. Doesn't have to be one, but at least right now, as you mentioned, it's more than 10, which is probably not good for anybody.
Well, certainly in the long term, it needs to come down to less than that.
Absolutely.
Okay, now another thing that's mentioned, just wafting along. Well, of course, there's integration. Everything's going to be integrated. All the aspects about integration. It sounds as though it's as easy as falling off a log.
It's plug and play.
It's not, is it?
It's not plug and play, right?
No. So it's not easy. So what's the solution to that? And again, you see, we're getting this sort of general sort of juggernaut rolling along, saying we've got it nailed. We understand the engineering behind this. It's going to become commercial services, there's going to be money made from it. Integration is just one of the aspects that we'll sweep up as we go along. But have we reached that point yet?
Not yet, definitely not. And we have been in certain trials and with customers, and we've trialed with them on certain, maybe tens of use cases. And first use case when we are integration with our partners is where from a VNF to a VNF manager or an orchestration engine or an SDN controller, it's usually have to really work very closely together. It's really close handshake, tight knit, and make sure that what we are sending them, they are receiving, and what they are sending, we're receiving. So there's, from a scripting point of view, from an interface point of view, from an API point of view, all of those things have to be really tightly understood from both sides. It's not plug and play today, but we want to get there. And things are becoming, as I mentioned, we did multiple use cases. First use case is always hard, and slowly, incrementally, it gets easier. And also, we have worked with one partner, one technology. Next time it's a repeat, okay, we know we have learned from this and we move on. But at some point, we need to ensure that there are few open APIs, really open APIs, and standards. We need to stick to comply to standards as much as possible. So that will make this whole integration bit more easier in the future. But we're getting there. It's been a slow process. Again, related to your earlier point, there have been many technologies. So if we converge on a few technologies, then standardization and openness becomes much more easier.
Indeed. Final point then, if I could. Traditionally, if we can say traditionally for a technology that's so new, SDN and NFV have been separate, running on parallel tracks for sure, and allegedly meeting at some point in infinity, but they've been close but separate. That now is changing. We're now seeing that SDN complementariness to NFV is now becoming sort of true linkage. What effect is that having? I
think it's great for the CSPs. It's excellent for them because they are now realizing that SDN is, as you mentioned, is a complementary technology. They can actually use it to benefit a lot of things for NFV. See, NFV I see is a bunch of layers, of course, if you follow the OSI stack. And SDN helps actually the service orchestration part, service chaining part, how to link VNFs. So you have VNFs, how to link at the actual networking level. SDN provides that benefit to the operators, in addition to them just providing VNFs, service orchestration services, different new apps and new services, but how to link these services together and offer a new end-to-end service for their customers on the fly, dynamically, very intelligently. I think that's where SDN really plays a big role to kind of connect up these services at VLAN level or layer 2, layer 3 level. That really helps. Well, it's been very interesting to hear a different sort of take and different slant on the way things are progressing from a very realistic viewpoint. It's been very interesting. I'd just like to say, KIshore Patnam, thank you very, very much indeed for a really interesting piece. Thank you, Mark.